Evening, week 5, I
Yes.
believe.
Yes.
Um, good, and couple of some good questions tonight, actually. Um,
Yeah.
oh, I've got that wrong. I've set my screens up on the wrong way, so this screen should be over here, and oh,
You'll have to do it backwards.
I'll do it backwards. Um, cool. Yeah, so we've got some really good questions tonight, and I'm going to just have to do that display the other way around because that's going to bother me. There we are, done. Um, Good questions. We'll start off though, just going through just one thing. When I was going through the forms, it's kind of one thing that kind of struck me, and I want to reassure everybody that this is perfectly normal. That when you start adding things, when you start trying to focus on lots of things at once, um, you will find sometimes that something slips just a little bit. But don't be too hard on yourself because, for example, you might start by if you're going on a fitness and fat loss journey. Um, you might start by sort of tracking your calories and making sure everything's right. And then, you're trying to do a little bit of running or some weight training or swimming and exercise and activity. And you're trying to do everything at once, but you're focusing on your tracking. And then all of a sudden you start thinking, oh, I want to push a bit more in my workouts or my running. And then your tracking might just slip a little bit. Um, that's normal. As soon as you start picking sort of one thing up, something else kind of gets pushed to the side, and it's impossible to deal with everything when you've got everything else going on. So it could be kids, work, spouse, family, and you've got loads of stuff on. So don't be too hard on yourself if something slips slightly. What I want you to do is zoom out and take a look at the bigger picture and think, actually, okay, I'm still tracking. It might not be as accurately, but I'm still tracking. And it's normal for things, especially with tracking. Um, and it's a real thing, tracking kind of it's but boring is not the quite that it's mundane. It's a mundane task. It's not boring, it's a mundane task.
Yeah.
And you know, it's something that you don't want to be doing forever. Absolutely. The point of this is not to have to track your food forever. It's there as a tool, it's an educational tool. It's there to teach you about portion control. And what you should be doing, and we've said this before, what you should be doing alongside tracking is working on kind of some of the repeatable habits around nutrition. So thinking about, this is why we say planning. If you plan your meals in advance and you think about what you're eating, you you can then start tracking in advance. So you if you've saved recipes, you might go, actually, I'll have the chili. Oh, I've got the chili saved in there. Right, let's use that recipe. Um, if you're, simplifying things as well, really keeping simple meals, and then just putting them on repeat, like repeat breakfasts, similar breakfasts. Mine's normally baked oats. I'll do different flavors, but it's baked oats, yogurt with protein powder and fruit and whatever, and then overnight oats, and then occasionally I'll do like a breakfast sandwich or a wrap. But those are on repeat. And then the same with lunches, it's things like wraps, or with lunches, I will have, like this week, I've had an evening meal and then I've had it for lunch the next day, evening meal, lunch next day. So you're batching and then repeating, and it just makes tracking a lot easier. That's the key thing there. Either logging in the morning, or if you've not got time, like the night before. I know what I'm eating. I plan my meals the next day. So I'll sit when I've got time in the evening and I will sit and log the meals for the next day as much as I can. And then anything extra, like I've just made myself a little chocolate lava cake, um, I will add on to it. But I've tracked, and the reason I've had that chocolate lava cake is because I've tracked my meals for the day and I know that I've got 494 calories left. So I know I've got enough for this little homemade sort of chocolate lava cake that I've done. It's about 200 calories. Okay, so that's fine. Um, so yeah, log before and you know, don't chase perfection and think, oh, I've missed something. It's being consistent. Keep going with consistency, and the more you do it, the better you get at um, guessing portion sizes. And once you get to a point where actually it's like, right, okay, I know what I'm eating, I'm consistent with this, I'm working towards my goals, then you can ease off the tracking. But then every now and then you go back into it. I'm in fat loss phase at the moment. I'm tracking again. I'm tracking my food. And once I reach a maintenance level, I'll learn about maintenance. I'll track for a couple of weeks to make sure I'm there, and then leave it at that. And that's the way to do it. So yeah, it's don't stress over things, especially with tracking. If you're missing stuff, don't beat yourself up. That's perfectly normal. Um, just think about, simplicity, repeated meals, batch cooking, logging it the night before, and every now and then, just if you're repeating the same recipes, just log that and say it's good enough. It's fine. Right, that's all I want to say on that one. Questions. Right, we've had a few good questions. First one, hormones, HRT, and weight loss. So the question was, can HRT make it more difficult to lose weight? That was the key thing. Um, so this person cycles all over the place. GP has put her on HRT, so clearly, entering perimenopause. Um, does HRT cause weight gain, or does it make it more difficult to lose weight? I think this is a yes and no answer.
I was gonna say it's not like a like yeah, it would make you gain weight in a way, but no, it's not. You don't need to
Yeah,
even be concerned about it. I think is yeah, the
I
better
mean,
way to look at
the,
that.
the first thing I will say is that so perimenopause and HRT doesn't make it doesn't mean you've got to eat less. It doesn't change your metabolism or anything like that. That's one myth that needs kind of just quashing. Your metabolism does not slow down during perimenopause, and it's not going to be affected by HRT. That's one thing. It's all the other stuff around it. The same basic principles apply. It's got to be calorie deficit. You're consuming fewer calories than you're burning. What HRT and perimenopause and the hormone fluctuations can do is affect all the stuff around it. So it can affect things like I don't because I'm a bloke, but that your normal cycle affects things like water retention, can affect things like appetite, cravings, energy, mood, sleep. So if you just think perimenopause is like your normal cycle on meth, I think is probably the best way of describing
Yeah,
it.
nice way
Um,
to look at it. Yeah, not
it's
fun.
no, and you've got all of those things, and it's because with your normal regular cycle, you kind of know, right? I've got 3 to 7 days of cravings, water retention, da 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 da. With your perimenopause, it's a little bit more all over the place. So it doesn't stop it. All right. It doesn't change your metabolism. And it doesn't make it harder in the way that you need to eat fewer calories or you need to move more. But what it does make harder is that it can change all the other stuff around it, that massively impact or can impact on one side of the equation. It doesn't stop you from burning fewer calories. Although I guess if you're not sleeping so well, you're moving less, that is going to make you move a bit less, but the metabolism's still the same. You've just got to be more aware of things like steps, more aware of things like your energy output and what you do in your activity. But all the other stuff, it makes it harder to um, it makes it harder to stick with it because of I guess it's kind of it's the side of things where it can be really disheartening, where you think you're doing everything right and you don't see the scale shift because your water retentions, you suddenly retain a load of water. Um, so it's that kind of side of things. So I think this is really important where you need to start looking at other measures of progress as well as the scales, and then zoom out and look at it over time. So, if you're weighing yourself daily, I'm not necessarily going to say stop because I think the more data you have, the better. But it's looking at what happens. So don't look at that one scale weight, plot it in an app, and then look at the graph.
Yeah.
Look at what happens over time. And you can do that in the Stridist app. You can zoom out to look at what you've done over a month or whatever. But the key thing is it's that consistency. You've got to work hard against some of these factors to keep going with that consistency. So yeah, I think the big thing is no, it doesn't stop you from losing it. It doesn't necessarily make it harder biologically,
Yeah.
but psychologically it can do because of all that. And it's just that you've got to have that heightened awareness. But I guess the way to look at it is this is like, you can kind of see, I think as soon as you understand what the impacts are and how it can affect it, you are then empowered to do something about it. Before you understand that, you're not sure quite what's happening, but you've got to think, right, okay, water retention, that's going to cause scale weight going up, but it's not permanent, it will fluctuate. Um, if my hormones are going crazy, that's going to change cravings and maybe my appetite. So I need to be aware of that. I need to make sure I prioritize protein, get my veg in. It's the same basics. My energy levels might drop, so I really got to keep an eye on my steps, try and keep those up. It's the same basics. My sleep might suffer, so I need to try and work hard at making sure I go to bed at a reasonable time, switching off earlier. It's the same basics. That's the key thing there. Is there anything I've missed?
No, but I think, yeah, I think that really key thing as well is just looking at your other ways to measure your progress. Like take that focus away from that scale weight and look at everything else you're doing. And I think that's in a way that makes it easier to then look at what you've achieved
Yeah.
rather than thinking, oh, the scales aren't moving, what am I doing wrong? It won't be you. It's yeah, just look at other ways to measure that. Think about your goals and look at other ways to measure that progress.
Yeah, and it's yeah, but it's everything else is the same. Protein, fiber, those are key around your appetite.
Yeah,
Steps, sleep, and strength training. And you keep those basics going and just be patient and zoom out and look at the bigger picture rather than what's happening on even on a weekly basis. It's like,
yeah,
you might have a week where it just shoots up and then it will come down again. And I get that so often with a lot of the in-person clients where they go, my weight's just not moving. Just keep going, keep going.
yeah,
Um, and I've had perimenopausal clients where their weight plateaus for 3 weeks at a time, and it's so frustrating for them. But then all of a sudden they'll lose like 4 pounds in a week, and that's the month's weight loss, it all gone in a week. And then
yeah,
they start to understand that that's what happens. But yeah, it's just keep going.
yeah,
Next question: supplements beyond creatine. Apart from creatine, are there any other supplements or vitamins that are beneficial? Um, very few.
yeah. There's not many. There's really not, is there? Like, and I think it's so hard when the supplement industry is so big.
Oh yeah,
And there's so much out there that's being pushed online and oh, you need this and this is what will change your life and this will help with this. And a lot of it, like the evidence just isn't there. I
no,
actually had this conversation with my physio the other day. She was joking, saying she takes that many supplements that she rattles. And she goes, I know that the evidence and the research is limited, but she still takes them. And I'm like, look, as long as you know they're probably not doing much, if that's what you want to spend your money on for you, that's, but
it's
the chances are you don't need to be spending your money on them because they're not doing what you think they're doing, or you're getting enough from your food anyway.
yeah. I think the things to remember. It's really there's three or four supplements that I would
Yeah,
recommend universally. But even then, it's like, it's not stuff that you necessarily need. I think vitamin D is one of them. In this country, I think everybody,
yeah,
because of the climate, because of certainly between October and March, the sun does not get high enough in the sky. We don't produce any vitamin D from sunlight, and we don't get enough in our diet. We just don't. It's very difficult to get enough vitamin D from your diet. Um, Even in the summer, especially if you're somebody who works indoors all the time, you might not get enough. And then depending on like the complexion of your skin and how, covering clothes is going to stop the sun getting to our skin. And the amount you produce depends on how much exposure, bodily exposure you have to the sun. So vitamin D in the UK, absolutely. Dosage wise, 1,000 to 2,000 IU is a general kind of thing, but I would say, go and get it tested if you're not sure. But 1 to 2,000 IU should be fine for everybody. You'll get some supplement companies who sell you a 4,000 IU supplement with K2, completely unnecessary, and they just do that to overcharge you. So don't fall for that one. 4,000 IU is the absolute maximum dosage that you should be really recommended to be taking.
Yeah,
And if you're taking any higher, only take it upon doctor's advice. So some people they'll have such low doses that the doctors might put them on a short course, a very high dose. Or if you're in a hospital, they do it as well. So vitamin D, if you don't eat any oily fish or low fish intake, 2 to 3,000 milligrams of an omega-3 is that, something like that. That's another recommended one. Again, it's not absolutely essential, but if you want to kind of optimize health, it's good for cognitive function, anti-inflammatory, and just hormonal controllers, hormone function as well. And then obviously creatine we've mentioned. Again, not essential, but it is strongly recommended. Loads of benefits from muscle gain. And then as you get older, you're looking at muscle maintenance, bone density maintenance, and cognitive function and mood stabilization, and can potentially help reduce brain fog in perimenopause, reduce your risk of Alzheimer's, all sorts of things there. Um, Protein powder, not really a supplement, but if you can use it to supplement your protein intake if you're struggling. But that's about it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's about it. And I mean, the one thing I would say with the supplement industry is it is not regulated at all. As all they've got to prove is that in this country, all they've got to prove is that the ingredients are safe and they're not going to cause harm. They don't even have to have particularly any of the active ingredient in it. And the
Well,
only
yeah, like
thing
the
you
big
can,
creatine gummy.
yeah, the scandal there.
Yeah,
Um, but they've taken, they've in this country they've actually taken a load of supplements where they've tested them for the active ingredient, and it's either non-existent or it's at such a low dose that it's not going to be effective. And that's
yeah,
the other thing that you need to understand with these things. So a lot of these, especially things like the mushroom gummies, which are really popular at the
yeah,
moment. Yes, some of those, like lion's mane, has potentially shown to have some impact on things like cognitive function, but the doses that they use in those studies are far higher than the doses that you get in the gummies. They're anywhere between sort of 5 and 10 times higher. So the dummies are only giving you somewhere between 10 and 20% of the dose you need, and then you're paying like a fortune for them. And it's the same with your multivits. Like if you look
yeah,
on the back, it'll say, oh, it'll give you 15% of your daily intake. 15% is nothing. If you want to take a multivit, you want something that is going to give you a good substantial amount. But then you also get the other side where there are some um, supplements, so things like vitamin D. So if you take a multivitamin that might have a little bit of vitamin D in it, and then you're taking a vitamin D supplement on top, the chances are you're not going to get a toxic dose, but there is a risk. But there's things like vitamin A.
yeah,
You take a vitamin A supplement, and then you take that's even you're at a higher risk of overdosing on that, and that can cause issues. So yeah, multivits, I would, unless you've got a shocking diet and it's you're just living off something like chicken nuggets and chips. And I say that because my youngest son lives off pretty much, no, he's getting better than he was. He did just live off chicken nuggets and chips. Then yes, you might benefit from a multivitamin.
yeah,
Um, but other than that, no. And I mean, um, even things like magnesium, that can benefit some people if you're struggling to
mm,
sleep, magnesium glycinate in particular. Um, but it's not essential.
yeah,
Um, and it doesn't help everybody because not everybody responds to it. And then I put this on the list as well, electrolytes. Again, most people shouldn't be taking electrolytes.
yeah.
You don't
Like I
need
said,
them.
the salt intake in the UK
Yeah.
is high. We don't really need to be adding salt to our diet. Obviously, the exception to that is like your endurance sports. If you're
Yeah,
sweating a lot, then yes, absolutely, you do need to be replenishing, those salts and things in
yeah,
your, getting them back into the diet. But people that are just, you're going to see so many more benefits by just increasing your water intake
yeah.
rather than, you see all these, again, influencers. Oh, I start my day with my electrolytes. You don't need to.
No,
Have a glass of
just
water. That's all you need.
yeah.
It's again, it's just another way to spend money on something that you really don't need. And yeah, we should definitely be reducing salt intake rather than looking to increase it through electrolytes.
Absolutely. You are going to get more benefits from having a balanced diet, eat enough protein, get 5 portions of fruit and veg in a day, drink enough water, get enough sleep, do your steps. The problem is people use things like supplements as kind of a fix all.
Yeah,
And it's like if there was a crack in the Hoover Dam and you get a tiny little sticking plaster, it's like doing that. It's going to do naff all. So it's yeah, and there are some context dependent ones. Like I say, if you're struggling, excuse me, if you're struggling with your sleep, magnesium glycinate might help. If you're ill and you're dehydrated, electrolytes will help. Yeah. But you don't need to be drinking them every morning.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. So absolutely. And then other stuff like there's one at the moment that I keep seeing her all over. She's on my feed, Davinia Taylor, who was on Hollyoaks, I believe.
Oh,
She has now turned into a wellness influencer, and the amount, if you see any of her videos, just scroll, block,
just don't,
scroll.
don't stop. Don't watch.
No, because she's at the moment, she's just released, and I'm going to do a video on this. She's just released a GLP-1
Oh,
specific supplement, which does naff all.
yeah, same
It's
with the GLP-1
literally,
patches, stuff
oh,
like that. Like they're not a thing.
you
They
cannot
do
you you
anything.
cannot artificially increase your own body's GLP-1 by foods, taking different foods. Like they'll say, oh, drink lemon juice, it increases GLP-1. No, the glucose goddess said that a couple of weeks ago. No, it doesn't. And there are no supplements that will automatically increase GLP-1. High protein diet, high fiber, that is what you do.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anything else, just ignore. And if you see people, the other thing is just the last thing, any influencer who gives you a code, now I can tell you this because I've had companies come and approach me to do this. So any influencers who say, yeah, you can buy this with this code, they get a cut. So,
yeah,
and I want you to think about this. So that company basically they give them the code, that code you buy the supplement through takes 10-15% off. That's quite a chunk. So that shows you how much it's overpriced already. They then give somewhere between 15 and 30% of the money you pay to the influencer. So let's say they charge in like £10 for this pack of supplements. I mean, I know that's cheap because you'll be paying a lot more, but £10 because the numbers are easy. They'll knock 10% off, so that's costing you £9. They'll give £3 of that to the influencer, and they'll take £6 and still make a tidy profit. Because to make those supplements, they're white label. There's a factory in China that will cost something like a penny per tablet, and they'll charge you 20p to put it in a bottle and put your label on. So it'll literally cost 50p to make these supplements, and they're gonna make £5.50 profit, and you're gonna pay £10 for these 50p supplements,
yeah,
and they do naffle. So yeah, anybody who says use my code, they're doing it because they get paid for it. They're not worried about your health. They're not worried about what you're taking or helping you. They're literally just in it. And this, I get loads of companies going, will you just? So I look at the supplement and go, no,
yeah,
because it's not going to do anything. Okay,
yeah.
I might make 100, 200 quid off
But
selling it,
it's
but
not worth it. No.
no,
The
because
other ones to watch out for is like the affiliated links
yeah,
because it's not a discount code, but if you shop through that link, then they also get a cut from that as
yeah,
well. So if they're saying, oh yeah, look, this is one I use and it's an affiliated link,
affiliated link,
they'll
yeah.
also get paid through that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they're doing it purely for money. They don't, and all these influencers do it, especially the big ones, because all they got, if somebody's got 1 million followers and 1% or less, let's say 0.1% of their followers buy it, that's 1,000 followers. right? That's 10 grand. And that person will make 10%, 20% of that. So that's 2 grand done. It's easy
Yeah.
money, and they really don't care about what it does for you at all.
Yeah.
Right, last question. This one I will leave to you because although I do run and I do know the basics, you will know more about it than me. So, how do I pace run and what is it?
So, are we talking about how do you pace a run, or are we talking about how to run at a certain pace?
Well, what is a pace run? Because when you're doing running training, you can
Yeah,
have like
yeah.
a long run, a recovery run, and then a pace run.
No, I
You've never done that.
genuinely, no. We have easy run, I'll
Yeah.
do a tempo run, or we'll do a VO2 run.
And a tempo run is a pace run.
Fine. Okay. So your middle one.
Yeah.
So um it's essentially sort of where you're doing not like your max effort. So the way that we tend to do MAR training is you think about like your heart rate zones
Yeah.
roughly. So your zones one is like where you're at now. Walking around, you're at zone one. Zone two is like your easy run pace. Zone three is where you're at for your tempo runs. 4 or 5 is where you're at for like your VO2 like tempo quick runs. Um, sorry, yeah, like VO2 sprint runs.
Yeah.
So your tempo one is that you'll still do them in like sections where you'll essentially just be running a little bit above what's comfortable, but you're not pushing yourself to your absolute max. So
Yeah.
you're in that good middle ground um, of essentially they'll also look at it like your race pace. So if you were running in a race, that's sort of where you'd be at. You're not killing yourself because you can't sustain those really long like sprints for a long period of time, but you're not in your lower zones because obviously you want to compete.
Yeah.
So it's like that midsection essentially. Um, and they're essentially there to build up your speed, build up your aerobic system, and help get you a bit quicker. And in terms like endurance, being able to hold that for longer
Yeah.
is kind of what they're
So
mostly
is it
there
is it
for.
a little bit like interval training where you're doing short bursts of higher speed
That'd
and
be more
then
like your hit ones. That's like your quicker ones. That's like where you're looking at like your zone 4 and 5, where you do like sprints, then you'll slow off, then sprint, then slow off,
yeah,
sprint, and slow
okay.
off. And then your easy runs is where you're keeping it very much like
Just
zone
a
2, which is what a
gentle.
lot of my runs are at the minute.
Yeah.
You want to be
It's
able to
that
hold a conversation.
that conversational pace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Um, so yeah, being able to hold a conversation, keeping it really slow, really steady, and that's what's building like that steady state of running to like keep you going for longer.
Yeah.
So your tempo is there to help increase that speed um, and like your distances over time and things is essentially where you are. Um, all different types of running are obviously beneficial. Um, no one, even the pros, are going out and PBing every single run, every single training. It's not like an absolute all out effort
Yeah.
because actually it's not good. It's going to have the opposite effect because you're not being able to recover in between them, which is
Yeah.
why you'll see that they'll do, like I say, the long runs, oh, easy run today, or tempo run, or this or that,
Yeah.
because you need a good mix of them all to build that good running base. Um, yeah.
I know when I have this is years ago now because I've started running again. So I'm using Couch to 5K.
Hmm.
And Couch to 5K is a really good build up. It doesn't it kind of it uses some of the principles. So it's taking you from the basics where you're running or jogging 60 seconds, then walking longer, and then it then switches it around. So you're running and walking for a similar time. And then gradually, so I've just started week 3 again, which is kind of 90 seconds of running, 90 seconds of walking. Then you do 3 and 3, 90, 90, 3, 3. And it's so you're increasing, I guess with that, it's increasing, that's your tempo bit, isn't it? You're trying to increase the amount of time that you're running at a slightly harder but sustainable pace.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the key thing. So I, I know just from what I did in the past, like you say, your easy run is just to get the miles in and it's just to kind of get your legs used to the movement. Your tempo running is shorter,
Yeah.
but you are pushing yourself harder so that you're running above the conversation. So you're going too fast to have a conversation.
But not fast enough that you're going to pass out.
Yeah. But you can still manage to control your breathing. That's the key thing. If you start panting, you're going too fast. slow down.
It's a pace I can't do
Yeah,
in any discipline. I cannot work in that tempo zone. I'm either 5 or 2.
yeah. And
I
then
don't have a middle.
your interval training is where your hit training
Yeah,
is proper
just
true hit
absolutely sprint.
training is very short bursts of max effort, followed by much longer intervals of
Yeah,
low effort or stop and
yeah,
rest. So that's your true hit training. So when they
yeah,
and you can get something called fartlek training where the
yeah.
intervals change and the efforts change, which is I don't like fartlek training. It's too much for my brain.
Yeah, no, you got to think too much.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically it. So I think if you just think about it from what I'm understanding from what you're saying is if you think of three basics, so you've got your easy pace, which is just a conversational light jog just to get miles in your legs. You've then got your tempo pace, which is slightly shorter, but you're running faster and it's you can't talk, but you should be able to control your breathing. So it's
Yeah,
kind of this is where you use your watch to, if you're
yeah,
really into it, to monitor your heart rate. And then you've got your intervals. And if you're doing your hit training, it's short sprints, like hill sprints. You
yeah,
short sprint up and then you walk back down the hill.
yeah,
Short
yeah,
sprint up, walk back down. Yeah. So that's my understanding of it. Um, and you should do a mix of those across your, if you're doing training for longer distance running, you should do a mix of those across the week.
yeah,
Ideally, 3 runs a week, one easy, one should be a longer run, which is probably, I guess, where some of the tempo comes
yeah.
in, and then you'll have your interval runs and stuff to increase your pace and your cardiovascular system.
Yeah, and like I say, like your hill sprints and your
Yeah,
yeah, your hit style, yeah, which like I say will be a lot shorter.
yeah,
Um, but like essentially can be like a lot harder effort.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I learned something there. That's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think as like you're so I've started because of how much time I've had to have off of running with all my rehab and stuff, I've gone started a beginners run club,
yeah,
which is really good because essentially you have to buddy up with someone or like a little group of you and you have to talk. So when
yeah,
they're doing the runs, you're not looking at your pace or anything. They've got someone who stands in the middle with a whistle. You're not worrying about how fast you're going and you have to talk the whole time. And they're like,
yeah.
if you cannot talk, you're
You're
going
going
too
too
fast.
fast.
And they, again, it's intervals. So we've just done a 5 minute run, 2 minute walk, 5 minute, two, five, which for me is actually the most I've run in a very long time. So that's been really good. And that
Yeah,
builds it up really slow.
I do miss that because I do all my running on the treadmill, which is
Yeah.
tedious. And even running on my own, I don't like. But
Yeah.
running with people where you can have a conversation, you
Goes by so much quicker.
yeah, and
Yeah.
actually you kind of go, I've just done a 5K run, and oh my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, absolutely. It goes so quick. So,
yeah,
yeah, and they can be really good because actually, like, you need those slower runs to
yeah,
actually build to run for longer, essentially. Because if you
yeah,
don't have that strong base to
yeah,
keep going, that's kind of like say like what the Couch to 5K does. It builds up really slowly.
yeah,
You're not going all out efforts. It's not sprints in that run section. It's still a steady controlled, and you just slowly, slowly increase to more, and that's how you build your run
yeah,
fitness.
yeah.
The other thing with any kind of cardio is you can lose it so quickly if you don't keep it up. And I think that's
Yeah, you
where
can
it's
just,
really
but
frustrating.
that's the
And with
same with your
strength training,
strength
yeah.
training. It's not so much that you lose muscle, it's the conditioning. Your
Yeah,
body, it's the conditioning around kind of your body's efficiency at transporting and using oxygen in the body
yeah,
because it's quite expensive for the body to maintain that. So it will kind of switch off some of those pathways.
yeah,
So yeah, you do have to kind of keep up with it, but that's where it's important. Again, back to everything we say, it's where it's important to find that balance, where it's something that you can sustain. Um, I'm an all or nothing sort of person. So for me, for running, actually, I'm doing a run, day off, run, day off, run, 2 days off, and actually getting into that rhythm. It is sustainable and it's something I can keep going. I'm
yeah.
actually enjoying it. I went for a run this morning, I think. Yes, I did. I went this morning
Nice.
just to the gym, did a 25-minute week run one week three. And I know Carrie will know that because she's done the Couch to 5K as well. Um, I'm dreading week 5, which is where you suddenly have to run for like 20 minutes in one
No,
go.
you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I know I've done it before,
You'll
But
build it up. It'll be fine.
yeah, it'll be fine. But
But I guess in terms like how do you do it, I think like you say, that's when you've really got to, if you've got a good smartwatch, that's when it will really make a difference.
yeah, there's
The newer Apple Watches, Garmin's, you can see where your heart rate zones are,
yeah,
and you want to be that high end zone two, early zone three. If you find that you're creeping high zone three, end of zone, just slow it back. If you then have
there
to
is.
walk a little bit, and you'll find what that pace is for you. Oh, the more you do it, essentially. So yeah, that'd be my best.
I'm just saying. Oh, I have got it. There's an app called Runner,
Oh yeah.
which will link to Strava, and you can. The free version will do a really simple, basic plan for you that you can actually ask for tempos and things. And there are some really good. The basic plans. They're not sort of all singing, all dancing, but as a good starting point, Runner is something to have a look at. That's
I'd say to be careful.
RUNNA.
Getting a lot of bad press at the moment is runner. But yeah,
Is it?
like you
Oh,
catch 5K.
this is.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, just be like quite careful of it. But yeah, I think going by how you feel as well is just a really good yeah, it's getting a lot of hate at the moment, it is runner.
I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah.
But just as a I think to be fair, that if there's the couch to 5K and there's a follow on, isn't there? There's the
There is,
5K
yeah.
to 10K,
Yeah.
and that's
And
got your tempo
apparently
stuff in.
the Nike Run app, my sister used, she says that was a really good when she
Okay.
finished the couch 5K and she was like, oh, well, what do I do now? But I don't really want to do a 10K. She said the Nike Run app is also a really good one for setting
Mm.
like different styles of runs and things as well. So yeah, a few different options there,
Yeah,
definitely.
but have a look at those. Good questions tonight, really good questions. I think we'll leave it there because it is now quarter to nine.
Yeah, I've just seen the time.
And yes, I'm shattered. Brill, thank you very much, guys. Really good questions. I will do the check-ins Sunday evening, Monday again. If you've got any questions in the meantime, please do reach out and we'll get back to you. But other than that, it is time to call it a night. So it's bye from us.
Bye.